Uh, H-1B-AC, our plan for the affirmatives for the United States federal government to substantially reduce restrictions on H-1B visas by one, eliminating caps, and two, eliminating time frames by providing a path to permanent residence. One, AC advantages hiring competitiveness, removing the H-1B visa cap strengthens American technology innovation and competitiveness from 2016. We can't forget how important immigration is to our economy, how encouraging and influence the talented skilled workers from around the world to keep to maintain our country's competitiveness in a fast-changing global market. As the world goes even smaller and more interconnected, that focus is more important than ever. To remain competitive as a globalized world, the United States needs to attract and retain brain power, the best and the brightest, not build barriers. Those who are turned away instead go away to build, innovate, and invent products and businesses for our competitors. The demand for high skilled foreign workers far exceeds the number to obtain the H-1B visas. Congress continues to randomly without reason cut these visas at 85,000, 20,000 of which are allowed to workers holding master's degree or higher. This means that the demand continues to increase and caps stay put, wouldn't employment to thousands upon thousands of highly skilled foreign workers, and more every year. But why? Is the reason for this easing up on the H-1B visa to protect American jobs? The truth is that rather than reduce the number of jobs from native-born workers, H-1B workers help inspire job creation. So technology innovation undermines hegemony and increasing the relative strength of Russia and China and creating a perception of American weakness, now 2017. First, with diversity capabilities of competitor states and stagnant research and development at home, American workplace and access in question, the United States facing the crisis of innovation. The crisis of innovation continues with the American military, which is now being the best on the line. China and Russia have been investing in innovation aimed at neutralizing the American military. Advantages. China particularly has prioritized its approach, formulating unique strategies for anti-access and anti-area denial, which aims to make it too dangerous for the United States Navy to operate within the first disputed island chain in the South China Sea. The rising military innovation of American competitors is casting a doubt on the future of carrier-based warfare, raising the risk that the United States aircraft warfare will be rendered useless in the event of a conflict in the South China Sea specifically. Doubt that the United States can be dependent on global security undermines America's global hegemony, raising the possibility that Asian countries rather throwing their lot with China than alienating the rising power. Advantages, harms, and non-working doctors. Doctor shortages are coming now. Immigration policies key marking 2017. Report estimates a shortfall from ranging from 34,600 to 88,000 doctors from 2025. Compared to what our growing and aging population may need, by 2030, the shortfall is expected to a total anywhere from 40,800 to 104,100 doctors. A future shortage can have a huge impact on the number of patients. By 2030, the number of Americans over the age of 65 will grow by 55%. Primary care, the findings suggest that there will be a shortage of between 7,200 and 43,100 physicians by 2030. Non-primary care specialties will be hit even harder, estimated to have another shortage of 33,561 physicians. Another major concern is whether or not Trump's administration immigration policy will cause a disruption to the doctor's workforce. For me, a substantial number of physicians have come to America having gone somewhere else or trained somewhere else. So there is a question now about how welcoming the U.S. will be to international medical graduates and what impact that will have on the physician workforce. When I say Solvency, the plan solves and attracts new talent, Kuma 2016. April 2016 marked the beginning of the annual scrap for 85,000 H-1B visas for bring foreign workers into the United States. Even with the increased scrutiny placed on the program during election season and fee hikes passed Congress in December, it only took 5 days for the crack to be reached. Typing high-skilled workers to particular employers and forcing them to leave after a certain period of time creates potential for abuse and shift away all the benefits of economic dynamism that permits immigrant creates. Instead of converting the H-1B program to an actual immigration program for highly skilled workers, ensures that the maximum benefit for the U.S. economy as a whole. This is how Canada and Australia, among others, attracts the best and the brightest. However, rules on employee sponsorship limit work choice and creates the opportunity for abuse. H-1B workers depend on sponsorship from a particular employer to sign and work in the United States. This gives employers significant power over wages since workers have little flexibility to quit the position for higher paying ones. These constraints undermine competitive advantages that immigrants fuel entrepreneurship and innovation gives the United States. First and second generation immigrants helped start more than 40% of Fortune 500 businesses, and more than half of the U.S. dollars was worth $1 billion. With the median age of information and technology workers in America approaching 53 in 2015, how does the skill set of future Americans workers stack up against tech workers around the world? The short answer, not well. No matter how you slice the data by class, by race, by education, young Americans will lag compared to their international peers. Factors in that 5 million jobs are open in America, and 40% of Fortune firms were founded by immigrants. You wonder why we even have a debate right now about H-1B visa programs. For me, it's clear. The American economy needs more, not fewer skilled tech workers. Reinventing public education to teach the digital skills need in the workforce is #1 job for the United States. To summarize this for the one I see impact count, the probability of all this happening is very high because America very often rejects immigrants because of the cap. Similar to a student in school, if a smart person rejected from a selective enrollment school, they go somewhere else and they could become successful elsewhere. And that's a downfall for that selective enrollment school because they could have high test scores with that one person who could have had high scores on their own tests. The magnitude of the situation is very high. This is because 2025 is only 7 years away, meaning not only is a magnitude important, but now time frame is playing an important role. All the doctor shortages are to occur in the next 10 years, creating impact of health, birth, etc. What other doctors are needed for, we're not going to have that within the next 7 years. And that's the end of the speech.
We have 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So for counselor?
So, when will your plan take effect?
The plan should take effect as soon as Congress approves all this of the entire plan.
Well, how is that going to be before the plan?
Excuse me?
How is that going to be before the plan?
Afford the plan?
Yeah, like what funding will we have to like make the plan be enacted for us to accept all these people?
Well, we would have to have more available jobs for them. I don't think it's more about money, because I don't think you need money to accept people to work.
Well, accepting people in our country is going to have a lot more people in our area, thus creating overpopulation as well as a bit of a lack of funding for a while. So how are we going to be able to fund all these people coming into our country while they are at such a low unemployment before they were actually?
How would we overpopulated?
Well,
if we're taking in more immigrants, then there's going to be more people coming into the country. So it would obviously create an overpopulation issue with how many.
So what do you define as overpopulated? What number would you say is overpopulated? Because right now the United States is at 300 million compared to China and Russia, compared to China and India, which have billions of people.
However, if we're accepting people from so many other countries and they're going to be at a lack of people and we're going to be at a surplus, and due to the land that we have and the already issues with them, with like homelessness and stuff like that, are we going to be accepting too many people that we can even like fill?
We're not saying we're not accepting everybody. We're saying that we should have more people available to come. We're not saying open borders. We're saying we should release the cap so there is more people able to come.
However, do you think we'll be able to handle such a surplus of people at such an immediate time?
Yes, because there will be a strict program to put this in place like we have now. It just makes sure we have more people able to come. Just like we let 85,000 in, we can let 90,000 in, 100,000 in, 200,000 in.
But with this number gradually increasing so much, don't you think after a while it's going to create a surplus?
No.
What evidence do you have to say that it wouldn't?
Well, first of all, we're letting these workers in to work, so that will be a plus to our economy. Also, like I was saying, we have a tech shortage, meaning that when they're coming in, they're immediately going to the tech shortage. They're going to fill those tech shortages in for us.
So we're going to be taking away the tech workers from the other countries that need them the most?
No, we're not taking them away. They're coming to the United States. We're not saying, hey, come to the United States. We're saying people that want to come to the United States have the chance to work.
Well, isn't this open invitation just telling people to come to the United States?
We're not advertising in the United States. We're just making sure it's available to people who want to come.
Well, those people coming in and they would be leaving their places in a lack of like business and a lack of workers. So wouldn't we just be stripping them of things that they need?
Well, how would we shipping if it was their choice to come to America?
Well, by accepting so many more people in, would we just be leaving them without the workers that they've been trying to strive to keep?
That's not up to us, it's up to their country because those people are coming to America.
Labor statistics and other sources indicate that supply and demand in broad categories of tech workers is quite healthy. U.S. businesses and adding tech jobs as a fast pace. Combat professionals such as application developer and security specialists have impressive annual average growth of 7% over the past 5 years. The growth of tech graduates have been outpacing the growth of tech jobs. Graduating data from the U.S. Department of Education indicates that the number of individuals graduating from tech-related jobs and diplomas have been growing faster than the U.S. number of tech jobs. The data tells us that the situation is getting better, not worse. No impact. 3. No impact. History proves America is not responsible for recent Pharaoh's 2010. There is little reason to believe that the stabilizing power of the U.S. hegemony and that there is no relation between the relative level of American activism and national stability. No militaries were enhanced to address the power vacuums. No security dilemmas, drug insecurity, or arms race. No regional balancing occurred over the stabilizing presence of the U.S. military was diminished. Just as the world acted as if the threat of international war was not a pressing concern. Despite the reduction of U.S. military capabilities. 1. Plan can't solve pandemics. The world is just not ready. The world must ramp up efforts to prevent huge infectious disease outbreaks, such as the flu strain that can jump from animals to humans, which can kill millions of people. The chief of UN's disaster risk agency said on Saturday, the vaccine technologies and disease surveillance is very low across the world because of the dangers possessed by pandemics of out of sight, out of mind. 2. Trump's foreign policy marks the International Disease Corporation. America First does not work during pandemics. Trump has shown signs that he favors an isolationist approach to international relationships. Fighting pandemics requires cross-border collaboration and cooperation. 3. No impact. Pandemics don't cause extinction because of human resilience. Adala, 2016. With each outbreak of headline-grabbing, emerging infectious diseases coming from a fear of extinction itself. Most of mankind's history, infectious diseases were an extinctional threat to humanity, and for good reason. And yet, of course, humanity continued to flourish. Our species' recent explosion in lifespan is almost exclusively the result of the control of infectious diseases through sanitation, vaccine, and antimicrobial therapies. This is not a disease that is less effective. On the contrary, these failures mark out this testament to show the resilience of the planet, even without the benefits of vaccines or helping the hand of antimicrobial drugs. This system was viewed at a species level and can adapt almost any enemy imaginable, coupled with genetic variations amongst humans, which can open up the possibility for a range of advantages. This imperviousness to infection to a tendency of mild symptoms. This ability ensures that there is almost any infectious disease onslaught with a large proportion of the population alive to rebuild. The most infectious diseases are those that spread from one individual to another. If the disease is highly lethal, then the population drops, and it becomes less likely that the individuals contract each other's infectious phase. Highly contagious diseases tend to burn themselves out that way. There is a small fraction of humans who are naturally resilient to, or altogether immune to HIV, either caused by CCR5 allele or the MHC class 1 type. There are a handful of people who were affected by the defective versions of HIV that didn't progress to disease. We can indicate that this sort of thing happening in part because our genomes contain many instances of pathogens' resilience against genes who spread through the whole population. Even if they win, that pandemic causes extinction, the nuclear war that they cause through our disadvantage outweighs the probability. Trump's war-based policy about the International Disease Corporation. The list 2017. Countries need to share information transparently through outbreaks of their borders. They need to agree that plans of preventing and fighting those outbreaks. Higher income nations like the U.S. can also lead to resources. From researchers for funding to lab training to their low-income counterparts to help local outbreaks from spreading globally. 3. No impact. Pandemic doesn't cause extinction because of human resilience. The 6th century plague of Justinian knocked out an estimated 17% of the world population. The 14th century Black Death decimated a third of Europe. And the 1918 influenza pandemic killed 5% of the world. Malaria estimated to have killed half of the humans who have ever lived. While the immune system roles can never be understood, and even more powerful protector, the faculty of consciousness, humans are not most prolific, quickly evolving, or strongest organisms on the planet. But the Aristotle identified humans as the rational animals, and it's the fundamental distinguishing character that allows humans to form abstractions, thinking principles, and plan long range. The capabilities, in turn, allow humans to modify, alter, and improve themselves and their environments. Consciousness equips us at an individual and a species level to make sure nature is safe and the species through technological marvels and antibiotics, antivirals, vaccines, and sanitation. When humans begin to focus their mind on the problem shortage. In many ways, people's consciousness become infectious diseases, worthiness of adversary. 3. Even if they win the pandemic causes extinction, the nuclear war they cause through our disadvantages outweighs the probability. Sandberg, 2017. This most likely cause of human extinction is a human-caused disaster. While natural risks are still normally are less likely than human-caused disasters like nuclear war, the probability of this happening is uncertain. The probability estimates a range of 4,050% over the suggested 9%. This research community does not know, but the risk does not seem to be non-zero, and potentially high enough so that we are able to be more likely to be killed by extinction event than a car crash across our lives. This is true, then we should expect humanity to die within a few decades or centuries. Trump's rhetoric scares H-1B workers away. The plan cannot solve. Stalin, 2017. For more than 2.4 Indian nationals living in the United States, including roughly 1 million who are scientists and engineers, the fear of extinction through roughly 45% of naturalized citizens, hundreds of thousands still depend on the impermanent visas that are periodically reviewed. Changes in the U.S. skilled visa scheme could trigger large economic and intellectual losses, especially in the states of many South Asian residents such as California and New Jersey. 1. 2. Technology turn. America's doubling as the world superpower is inevitable, and trying to maintain global leadership leads to war and turns the affirmative. Claire, 2015. Anyone who believes that the clock cannot be turned back to 2002, when the U.S. strength is at its high point and the Iraq invasion not yet depleted American wealth and vigor, is undoubtedly suffering from delusional thinking. Other powers have acquired significantly greater freedoms from action in unsettled world. Under these circumstances, aggressive Muslim policy in Washington is likely to result in only calamity and humiliation. The first step of a 12-step imperial recovery program would improve accepting the fact that American power is limited and global rule is impossible fantasy. Accepted it with, as well along with the obvious reality, like it or not, the U.S. shares a planet with other major powers. None is nuclear, but none so is weak to be intimidated by the threat of U.S. military intervention. Having absorbed a more realistic assessment of the American power, Washington could focus on how to live together with such powers. Russia, China, and Iran among them, and manage its differences with them without igniting yet more disastrous regional firestorms. The U.S. can no longer sustain the global superpower status, and rather than having its adjustments forced open by sudden major crisis, it can get ahead by the terror of children.
Thank you.
Goodness.
Open for process?
Yes. Okay. You said the number of tech graduates outgrows the number of tech jobs. And then you said tech shortage is getting better, not worse.
No, I said that there's no tech worker shortage and that because of the tech-related degrees and diplomas, it's growing faster, and then the number of jobs that are being offered, so the situation is getting better because we have more people already in the country.
So you're saying the situation is getting better?
Well, there's a job growth.
The people who have like the diplomas and the education in these fields is increasing. So
how is that benefiting?
It's benefiting the tech jobs and the tech workers because there's more people who are educated in that field.
Did you say that pandemics do or don't cause extinction?
Pandemics don't cause extinction.
Okay, you also said that they depend on these visas. What visas were you talking about?
Where was that mentioned?
Towards the end, I can't really remember it. Around when she said 5 or 3. I don't know. It's okay, don't worry about it.
You also said that highly contagious diseases tend to burn themselves out.
Yeah, because they tend to burn themselves out through just. So it states that on left there, it was exclusively as a result of control of infectious diseases through sanitation, vaccine, and antimicrobial therapies. So we already have things that are going towards having these diseases like stop, and then also through
the strength of our immune system is already combating those such diseases.
But so you're speaking for the entire human race?
from our data, yes.
You said that countries need to share information transparently.
Repeat that?
You said that countries need to share information transparently.
Like,
What was that one there?
I really can't remember. I didn't get to fully hear the parts on the dates. But I do remember you saying that. So how do you expect countries to share information with us if we offer them nothing in return? If we're pulling back on
Yeah, because you also said that Trump favors isolation to international relationships. Yeah, kind of in that area. You said that also.
So Trump favors the isolationists when it comes to certain plans, but
What type of plans?
Isn't that contradicting to what you just said before? Because how are we supposed to share anything if we're isolating ourselves from others?
Huh?
Where do you start?
Can be competitiveness. Is there a document for solvency for YNC? That's 2 weeks. Yeah, we're doing 2
We need time ourselves. You got me mine.
You still need to.
It's on my first word.
Okay, here.
Alright, we're starting with, just a reminder, the United States federal government should essentially reduce restrictions on H-1B visas by 1, eliminating caps, 2, eliminating the time limits, and providing a path to permanent residence. American hegemony and military power is necessary to maintain world peace, Kagan 2016. Finally, there is a matter of American hard power. There can be no world order without power to preserve it, to shape its norms, uphold its institutions, and defend its economic system and keep the peace. Military power can be abused. It can be developed to answer problems that it cannot answer. But it is also essential. No nation that renounced power could maintain any world order. If the United States begins to look like a less reliable defender, that order will begin to unravel. There can be no stable balance of power in Europe or Asia without the United States. Soft power and smart power always will be of limited value when confronting raw military power. Despite the loose talk of American decline, it is in the military realm where the U.S. advantages remain clearest. Even if the others' great power backyards, the United States retains the capacity, along with its powerful allies, to deter challenges to the security order. But without a U.S. willingness providing balance in the far-flung regions, this system will buckle under the unrestrained military competition of regional powers. America's ability to play this vital role increasing under question. The U.S. military must be able to deter aggression, even when, in a large-scale war, it needs to fight ISIS and deter Iran in the Middle East, deter Russia and Europe and deter North Korea and maintain stability in the face of the rising China. Consider the threat now posed by Iran. Any serious strategy aimed at resisting Iran domination also requires confronting Iran on several fronts of the Middle East battlefield. It requires using American force to push back and destroy forces of the Islamic State so that we do not rely on Iran power. It requires a greater U.S. military commitment. Moving on, world wars obsolete. Great power war coming, only the U.S. can prevent it, war 2014. The constant stream of somber news reignites fear of global catastrophe. It is important to turn those who can best interpret these eras in the case of great power or hegemonic wars. That there is hardly a greater authority than Robert Wilson in his seminal work of his subject, War and Changing the World Politics. Gilpin argues that 3 preconditions must be met before a hegemonic war to occur. First, Gilpin believes that the soon-to-be warring parties must feel that there is a closing in of the space and opportunities. Second, there must be a general presupposition of a fundamental historical change taking place. Finally, events around the world start to escape human control. Notably, all 3 of these conditions currently exist in the world. The best historical research provides that the world is still possible. Why in 2014? The best angles of our nature seem pretty familiar to me. It always has been. But academic research from a few decades back suggests that great power wars against each other aren't common. Jack Livy, in his research on war, is the international system between 1495 and 1975, found only 9 of what he would call world wars, where all great powers were involved. Much more commonly, he found interstate wars, 113 of engaged great war power. Moving on to doctors, healthcare professionals are on the front line of epidemic shortage now. Elsewhere 2016, as the world becomes more and more connected, there is an increased possibility of viruses and bacteria spread between the population. As a result, the risk associated with localized epidemics on global health emergencies is more real than ever. A recent panel of healthcare professionals and industry specialists recently unveiled a lengthy report on highlighting potential global pandemics and a framework to combat such a possibility. In such a scenario, nurses would be on the front lines of helping to stem any outbreak. How diseases spread so quickly? The Zika virus is a perfect case for studying understanding how viruses can spread in the modern world. The disease has been racing through Latin America. Some scientists suspect that the Zika virus has been spread to South Korea during the 2014 World Cup, and since then it has exploded in Brazil, throughout the Western Hemisphere, and the disease can be transmitted through bodily fluids as well as mosquitoes. And already has spread over 20 countries in Latin America. This represents a major concern for health officials worldwide. The Ebola epidemic in West Africa is an unfortunate example of how difficult it can be to contain such a disease. There is overwhelming evidence that more could have been done to curb and slow the spread of disease. Unfortunately, however, the nursing shortage here in the U.S. leaves the country vulnerable to a serious outbreak, and an aging baby boomer population will put added strain on the healthcare industry, increasing the demand for nurses even further. According to the Office of the Epidemic Preparedness Report, the conditions for infectious disease, emergence, and contagion are more dangerous than ever. Further outbreaks of new, dormant, or even well-known diseases are certainty. Moving on. New Center for Disease Control Director ensures U.S. commitment to global epidemic prevention programs. McKay, 2018. Dr. reveals that his top priorities are to protect Americans from major global epidemic threats, namely pandemic, flu, and antimicrobial resistance. Efforts the Center for Disease Control has made in recent years to help the Democratic Republic of the Congo build its laboratories and to train epidemic responders paid off at the country's rapid response to its recent Ebola outbreak. Moving towards solvency, even if some workers are deterred by Trump, applications for H-1B still exceed the supply. O'Brien, 2018. Applications for visa, which is frequently used in tech industry by highly skilled foreign workers, opened in April 2nd and for a 5-day period. This year, 109,098 applications were received, down from 199,000 applications in 2017. Only 85,000 H-1B visas are granted annually. Their evidence assumes that status quo policies. The plan is distinct. The Kumar 2016 evidence indicates that the planned creation of a direct path to citizenship in the program is key to attracting talent. This means that the plan does lead to more workers coming in because it signals a shift. Moving on, best evidence proves surveys show that people still want to move to the U.S. Gallup 2017, nearly 150 million people, or 4% of the world's adult population, would move to the U.S. if they could. That figure is larger than the next four most popular destinations combined. If everyone who wanted to move to the U.S. had their way, the country's total population would increase by almost 50%.
40 seconds.
People who want to move to the U.S. as potential migrants to other population destinations are far younger and better educated than their companies who don't want them to leave their country. 56% of all these people who want to move to the U.S. are between the ages of 15 to 29, far more than general youth populations who want to remain at home, 31%. The main draw to America appears to be two things. People know someone living here, or they are looking for good jobs. America's popularity might also be because of its receptivity to migrants. 8 in 10 Americans say that where they live is a good place for immigrants. Out of 140 countries surveyed, only 16 countries best the U.S. on this metric. In fact, 71% of Americans think immigration is a good thing for the country. Can you repeat the question?
What areas would, she said, we took away the workers when they need, well, not took away workers that need them. So what areas would you say need these workers?
These low, like, economic places, like, these people are,
Well, like, there are countries out there that don't have the resources that we happen to have. So for countries that are lower than us, how are we able to, like, combat these diseases that you were talking about if we're ridding other countries from their needed resources?
Yeah,
Well,
because
some countries don't have the resources or the knowledge, so they come over to America to learn, and they can take that information back home to help their own economies
but
as
who's
well.
saying that they're gonna go back to their home country? We can't guarantee that.
No
We also can guarantee that they'll stay either.
But there's a huge if in there. So what you're telling me now is that if these tech workers and these doctors come over to America, there's a possibility that they can go back, but you can't even say that they're gonna help their own country with this knowledge that they're gonna be gaining from the US?
Well, it can go either way. They can stay here and they can share their knowledge with the U.S., or they can go home and share their knowledge with the people in their country that need the help.
and think about this, if it's their country, how are they going to help their country if there's nothing to help them with? There are no resources, there's no everybody else. Because one person can't help an entire nation. So by one person coming here, they can bring more people back to their home country to help them.
By the time that they go back, their country, like, with the amount, you saying that there's such a small amount of workers and doctors already there, but if we're taking those people away and they're here for such an amount of time, then how are the other countries, how are they going to be able to function without them for that amount of time that they're here?
Well, first of all, you said that there were not enough. You said there were not enough workers in those countries. We didn't say anything. We said there were not enough workers in the United States, which is why we need more people
However, if
here.
the United States is considered a strong country, wouldn't that leave other weaker countries to be even less than we are?
No,
So you're saying weaker countries are stronger than the United States?
no.
Then what
What
you're
do you
saying,
We're saying that the United States government needs more doctors. We need more tech workers to be in the United States.
However, what are you thinking of the other places that are weaker than the United States?
it seems like your case, like you're saying.
Our plan has nothing to do with any other country. Our
It-
plan
it
is
does.
So
It's
you're
a
saying the
country-
United States doesn't have any liability for other countries? We're supposed to just leave them in Iraq?
we're not. That's their country's government. We're the United States of America.
We're
Our
supposed
plan
to-
says the United States federal government, not India, not China. We're the United States federal government.
Okay, well then if the United States federal government doesn't try to help other countries, wouldn't that cause more feuds between them? Because if you're saying that we're only supposed to care, like you're implying we're supposed to only focus on ourselves. But if we only focus on ourselves, aren't we leaving other countries to have even less of a like less care for our country? Wouldn't that be possible?
No,
for
because
us?
we already have our allies. The Wi-Fi's over there playing. Did you do the Wi-Fi in this class? What's over there?
Trump's foreign policy record international mobility corporation. Louis 2015. Countries need to share information transparently about outbreaks within their borders. They need to agree on plans for preventing and fighting those outbreaks. Higher income nations like the U.S. also have to lend resources, from researchers to funding to lab training, to their lower income counterparts to help keep local outbreaks from spreading locally. No impact. Pandemics don't cause extinction because of human resilience, as Raleigh 2017. With the outbreak of a headline rapidly emerging infectious diseases comes the fear of extinction itself. The fear emerges with a large proportion of humans succumbing to infection, leaving no survivors or so few that the species can be sustained. For most of mankind's history, infectious disease were an existential threat to humanity, and for a good reason. They were quite successful clinically. The 6th century plague of Justinian caused knockdown estimated 17% of the world's population. The 4th century Black Death estimated a third in Europe. The 1918 influenza pandemic killed 5% of the world. Malaria is estimated to kill half of all humans who ever lived. While the immune system role can be understated, even more powerful protector is rapidly constant. Humans are not the most prolific, quickly evolving, strong on the planet, but Aristotle identified humans as rational animals, and its fundamentally distinguishing characteristic that allows humans to form strategies, thinking principles of plan long range. These families ranging from 450% over the next century, and an informal poll among researchers suggesting 90% risk and calculations suggesting 9%. This research community does not know that the risk seems to be non-zero and potentially high enough that we are more likely to be killed by an extinction event than a car crash across our lives. This is true, we should expect humanity to die within a few centuries or decades. Structure phase experience H1B workers for the plan can't solve. Settling from the base. For many of the 2.4 million nationals living in the United States, including roughly 1 million who are second engineers, the fears are exponential. Roughly 45% are nationalized citizens, hundreds of thousands still depend on impermanent visas that must be permanently renewed. Changes in the U.S. skilled visa scheme could trigger large economic and intellectual losses, especially in states with many South Asian residents such as California and New Jersey. This year, the number of people applying for high school worker visas H1B dropped for the first time in 4 years, from 236,000 last year to 199,000, the government reported. Attorneys said that Trump's travel ban involves tightening vetting procedures of unmarried petitioners. Nearly 127,000 Indians were given H1B visas to work in the United States in the 2016 fiscal year, but that made more nationality. Outsourcing firms such as Infosys expect a sharp drop in visas they will receive. Uncertainty about Trump's policy scares off foreign students. The number of new international students in the U.S. has dropped. Some believe that Donald Trump's work is scaring off foreign youth. The Institute of International Education reported on Monday that the number of first-time international students enrolling in the U.S. fell more than 3% from the 2015-2016 and 2016-2017 school years. This means that about 10,000 fewer new international students who signed up for classes stateside. Survey data released in the fall shows that institutions report a 7% decline in international students, with the fall of attributed party issues and uncertain U.S. social and political climate. Trump is deterring doctors from coming in, except one. Several immigration policy changes under Trump's administration will deter the unethical practice of the U.S., which could be, the visa situation puts the status of thousands of training physicians worldwide, roughly 25% of foreign medical students in the U.S. rely on H1B visas. The corrupted number of medical organizations sent a joint letter to the USCIS on May 30th expressing concern about the change. While these government reform documents effective policy changes in the sign of the trend appears to be based. Over 9 U.S. citizens international graduates registered the residency of not just year than any since 2005. International medical graduates may increase gravitate towards programs in Europe. In the UK, Canada, medical graduates may increasingly gravitate toward programs in Europe. It's political trust to me. A Japanese doctor who has studied international medical graduates is now assistant professor of medicine at the University of California, Los Angeles. There are some concerns about uncertainty around what's going to happen in the future. They don't want to come to the U.S., start training, get caught during training, because they're devastated for their career. There's no tech worker shortage, regardless of the team. The impression is showing in the press a lot, and this seems to fit with the perception of the dysfunctional U.S. education system. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and other sources indicate that the supply and demand relationship broad categories of tech workers is quite unhealthy. U.S. businesses are adding tech jobs in the fast pace. Coveted professions such as application developer and security specialists have seen impressive annual average growth rates among 7% over the last 5 years. The growth in tech graduates has been outpacing fast tech jobs. Graduation data in the U.S. Department of Education indicates that the number of individuals graduating with tech-related degrees and diplomas are growing faster than the number of new U.S. tech jobs. The data tells us that the situation is getting better, not worse. History proves America not responsible for. Trump's foreign policy references National Disease Corporation. America first isn't worked during pandemic. Trump has shown signs of making failures to isolation and suppression. Fighting the pandemic requires cross-border collaboration and cooperation. Pandemic self-compensation is human resilience. And yet, of course, humanity continues to flourish. Our species' recent explosion in lifespan is exclusively the result of control of infectious diseases through recent explosion in lifespan, through sanitation, vaccination, and antimicrobial therapies. Part of our evolutionary heritage is our immune system, most of the complex of the planet, and we will help the benefit of vaccines and help and harm of antimicrobial drugs. And the most dangerous diseases are the last spread from one individual to another. If the disease is highly lethal, it doesn't many instances of pathogen-resistant genes that have spread through the whole population. The world must ramp up our efforts and prevent huge infectious disease outbreaks. The chief of UN's disaster risk agency said that use of vaccine technologies and disease surveillance is very low across most of the world because of the dangers posed by pandemics are out of sight, out of mind. Fighting and preventing pandemics requires structured. Countries need to share information transparently about outbreaks within their borders. They need to agree on plans.
You said that the world has to ramp up their efforts to, what did you say? Can you finish that sentence? I really couldn't hear you before.
Excuse me?
You had said that the world needs to ramp its efforts to, and I didn't hear the last of it. Can you repeat it?
Oh, you want me to repeat my last sentence?
Yes.
They need to agree on plans for preventing and fighting these outbreaks.
The one before that, where it says the world must ramp up its efforts.
Fighting and preventing pandemics requires collaboration.
Exactly. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. So, collaboration. Does this mean collaboration with other countries or just collaboration with ourselves?
Well, collaboration can be with other countries considering like allies and such.
But how do we have our allies if we don't offer them anything in return?
We are offering these things. We already have things in place allowing immigrants. I'm just saying it shouldn't be an overflow of immigration.
You said pandemics don't cause extinction.
Yeah.
And then you're another one, and so you also said highly contagious diseases tend to burn themselves out. So your argument is that because diseases just magically disappear, they don't cause extinction.
We never said that
diseases aren't magically disappearing. We have.
You see how diseases tend to burn themselves out.
Yes, but there's evidence to back that up. It's not just they disappear.
How do they burn themselves out then?
Okay, well, we already stated in the last context that our species' recent exposure and lifespan is most exclusively the result of control of infectious diseases through sanitation, vaccination, and antimicrobial therapies, followed by our immune system is getting stronger.
Okay, and then you also said that, excuse me, you're saying that pandemics don't cause extinction. Then you said we're more likely to witness an extinction than a car crash.
Well, that's because the likelihood of a car crash is very low, and even with that, we mentioned that the extinction causes are.
So you're saying that we're more likely to all die than somebody crash into McDonald's down the street?
Okay, well, the likelihood of pandemic or of extinction levels doesn't just imply pandemics either. Extinction levels could be from nuclear war and stuff like that.
I don't think we brought up nuclear war though.
You also said that the most powerful impact facing us right now is human-caused disasters, like nuclear war, right? Right. Okay. So how should we avoid nuclear war if we're not offering our allies anything in return, or we're just stepping back, basically obsoleting us?
We're saying that we're not offering our allies anything in return, but we're not saying that we're not going to offer anything to any immigrants or any.
I didn't say that you didn't offer me anything. Actually, how?
Well, you just said since we're not offering things.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we're not offering hard power.
We're just not offering. We're just not offering an excess of it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then you need
I'm doing my
Yes.
4 minutes.
Do you need prep time during before your rebuttal? Because I can just say 4 minutes. Do you need prep time before your rebuttal? Huh? Huh? No, I'm gonna say prep time for your rebuttal. Or however long you need, I'm gonna take that with you now. So I'll take 4 too. This one half.
because if this plan is passed, it'll be taking away resources from other countries who need them the most, of doctors and tech workers. In the US, we do not have a tech worker shortage, and taking doctors and tech workers from certain countries will only have a negative effect on the world. When the negative acts of affirmative, how taking away tech workers and doctors will affect the countries we take them from, they responded that countries' governments were not our concern, and we were not to worry about them. How can us as Americans, and how can us as representing America take pride in that? If we're taking away workers from these countries that need them the most, and from these countries that don't have a lot of available resources, and then after that, leave them in the dirt, leave them in the rot, how are we supposed to be taking pride in passing this plan? This plan will only have negative effects on the world if we do pass this. And when we did ask the affirmative if how they know that they're going to go back to the countries to help them, they were not able to say that there was a for sure fact that these immigrants and that these people coming in through H-1B visas will be going back to the countries to help. Through this, we know that if we take those health workers and if we take those tech workers, we know that there's going to be a time and an absence of health workers and tech workers in the countries we're taking them from. What are we supposed to do to help that? What are we supposed to do to make up for that? We don't, and based on what they responded with the other question, that's my concern. We know that us as Americans, we know that we need to help out these immigrants, but passing this plan is not the way to go. It's not the way to go about it. This plan has too many holes and too many problems that will affect many other countries and many of our allies in that. If we, such as India and such as other places like these, that have a shortage already, and then us coming in saying that, hey, you can come in, we're gonna take your workers, we're gonna take your doctors. They don't have a lot of available resources. We're taking away their only resources. How are they supposed to function? Think of what would happen if another country did that to us. How would you feel if your kid didn't have a doctor to go to when they got sick? How would you feel if your mom didn't have a doctor to go to when she became ill? We don't understand the effects because we don't have that happening to us. But we need to place ourselves in the shoes of the people who are affected. These people, they don't have as much available resources as we already do. We are able to have our health care and go to the doctors when we're sick. We're able to take our parents to the hospital if they become ill. They don't have that. And then through passing this plan, we're only going to make it harder for them to live as people in these countries. We need to understand our impact that we have. America is one of the strongest countries. And if we don't have anything to do with the governments, like the affirmative said, if we don't have anything to do with their governments, that's not our problem, we don't need to deal with that. How are we representing America? That's not how we should be working, right? That's not how we should be dealing with this fact. The fact of the matter is that there is a problem, but passing this plan is not solving, it's only creating a negative effect. And it's only creating a negative effect in the countries that we are taking these people from. We understand that through these people coming here, possibly they might go back. But they know that there's not a for sure say that they're going to go back, that they're going to help the countries. But at this moment in time, we are only harming those countries. And we know that there has to be a better way to go about this situation. We cannot just simply ignore the other countries' governments and how the other countries running and how the other countries' families and people are dealing with the shortage. We can't simply ignore that. If we're causing the negative effect through passing this plan, then we're not being sufficient and we're not acting in our part as Americans. Our part is that we're democracy. We have the power to change things, right? That's what democracy is. People have the power. We have the power to change things in a better way. If you're passing this plan, you're only creating negative effects. When we asked the affirmative how long this will take to pass, it said once Congress approves the plan. This can take years. This plan, it's not necessary, and if we're spending more and more time trying to pass this plan, and it's not going to help us in the long run, and it's not going to help other countries at all, not even in the long run or short run, it's just not going to have any positive effects. Why are we going to waste our time on trying to pass a plan that's not going to work and that's soon going to have to be reevaluated? We need to understand that we have power to change things, and we have power to change things that are wrong and that need to be helped, but this plan is not the way to go.
Need a question?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yes. No, I got it. I think I got it. Okay, so first I'm gonna read something from 1AR. Epidemics are deadly and cause extinction, terrorism, and Bosman 2016. Although the dread factor of epidemics tend to be lower in war and terrorist attacks, they have resulted in some of the most significant episodes of mass deaths in human history. For example, 1918 Spanish flu killed about 3%, through most of the estimates are double of that. Human population infected roughly a third of all humans between 1918 and 1920. In absolute numbers, it threw roughly 33 million more people into the grave than war of bayonets, bullets, and bombs of World War I. Judge. The negative kept bringing up other countries and how the U.S. is responsible for how poor they will be after we take their doctors. Our plan said nothing about other countries and how we're going to take their doctors. Our plan is saying that we need to be able to open our doors there are more people can come into the U.S. if they want to. We're not advertising the U.S. right now. This is not an ad that you will see on TV. Come to the United States. This is not a war. We're basically saying, come to America because we need your workers. So right now, we're not even saying, oh, we're going to take all these people. We're going to take all these people and just leave you sitting there. We're not being a bully. We're just actually trying to help these countries. By bringing these doctors here, we're going to solve these problems in America. And then once we solve them in America, they can go spread the word across the rest of the world. And yes, our plan does involve people from other countries, but we're not saying that they're going to come here, stay, and they're never going to go back. We're saying that they're coming to be successful here so they can go back and be successful in their country. Let's say epidemics don't cause extinction. Then they turn around and contradict themselves. It's saying that, supporting an argument saying that we're more likely to become extinct and that we're more likely to become extinct than have a car crash, meaning that, they're supporting our argument saying that extinction is more likely than a car crash. So they're supporting an argument. They're not giving no answer how we're more likely to become extinct in a car crash. So I take the assumption that they're supporting an argument saying that we're more likely to become extinct because we don't have enough doctors, because epidemics are more likely to occur. And then they say how we're going to leave countries in the dark after we take away from other countries. We never said we're leaving countries in the dark. We're just saying that they can come here, but it's not our problem on how they take care of their own country. We're saying that we're bringing people here to help the rest of them. We never say we're not going to bother with them. And then she also said, how would you feel if your child didn't have a doctor to go to, or we don't have that? Right now, as I said during my 1AC, we have a shortage of doctors. By 2025, we are expected to have 34,600 to 88,000 doctor shortages, and not just in the next 7 years. That is a very short time frame. So within America, we're not going to have enough doctors for your children. And so why are we worrying about other countries when we don't even have our own stuff in place? Also, Judge Mayer pointed out that they said that that Trump supports isolation for international relationships. That's what we're also saying, that we should isolate ourselves from countries that we don't need. We're not saying we're ignoring our allies. We're not saying we're ignoring Canada, Australia. We're not ignoring them. We're just isolating ourselves so we have the opportunity to take care of ourselves and improve our country before we take care of other people. It's like in school. You can't take care of another student if you're failing your classes, if you're not taking care of yourself right now. We're waiting for Congress. She said, how long is this going to take? We are waiting for Congress. That's why we're in this debate right now, so this time frame could be decreased. We're in the debate so that this plan can get approved, so that we can get more people into the United States to help fix all these problems. And then she said, we have the power to change things. Yes, we do have the power to change things, which is why this plan is in place, so we can change things, so we can have more doctors, so we can go across the world to help these pandemics that may possibly occur. The probability of all this happening, 1. Think about if you didn't have a doctor, like I said earlier. That's because we don't have enough doctors. Without them, somebody could be operating on you that's not qualified because we don't have enough doctors. 2. The probability of immigrants. No, skip that. Magnitude. How many people are being infected? As I said earlier, 34,600 to 88,000 doctors by 2025. That is a lot of doctors, especially in the United States, where our population is already 300 million. That's not a lot compared to China and India, where there's billions of people. So right now, by 2025, we're not even going to have enough doctors for a lot of this stuff.
well as foreign countries. Through taking needed workers from other countries, we are also leaving some workers to rot with other resources. By taking those resources from these countries, we are not only refusing to help other countries, but hurting our allies. We're leaving them with nothing to work with. How can we help other countries if the affirmative thinks it isn't our problem to create better conditions in some of our areas? Are we really being a strong ally if we don't defend those in need? Furthermore, the affirmative doesn't even know if we can allow this plan to pass. So is it truly going to be worth it? Of course, countries need to collaborate with other countries, which is why we must support these areas by not taking their few resources. Their plan is based around how they need workers, as the one I see in both states. But how can we truly guarantee they'll go back to their home area? Yes, we can say it's likely to become extinct, though the affirmative simply assumed I meant this through pandemic. The key word is assume. Never did we claim pandemics are the reason of this possible extinction. The issue is problems on other countries going against us due to our using of their few possible resources. As stated in the 2NC, human-caused disaster is the most likely cause of human extinction, according to Sandberg 2017. However, as we also state in both of our causes, pandemics aren't a cause of extinction due to human resilience. Our strong immune system, antibiotics, therapies, such like that, it gives us a lack of possibility of pandemics causing extinction. Think about immigrants in other countries who are staying in their country. How are they going to guarantee that they won't get hurt and possibly die because we are taking their few doctors? Their resources are low, and by us taking the resources that they already hardly had an amount of, are we just taking the few things that they need? There's no guarantee that said immigrants are going to go back to their countries or even communicate back with their countries. There's no guarantee that we are going to be able to do this and furthermore benefit other places. But not benefit other places, there's no guarantee that other countries are going to remain our allies even. By taking away the few things that they have, we aren't remaining allies with anyone. If anything, we're causing more against us. We need to ensure that our countries don't create feuds and remain strong and healthy. We can't remain strong by taking away other people's resources. We're not benefiting our country as a whole by taking such a surplus of people coming in either. We're ridding these countries of needed resources and taking immigrants from their home countries. This isn't fair. Think of it on your own end. If we were to, as America, we have said doctors at our fingertips. We are able to go to doctors. We are able to communicate with doctors. We are able to, if we get sick, see a doctor. But there's no guarantee of that in other countries. They have to worry about themselves, their kids, their family, because no one else is trying to help them and they don't have the power to sustain themselves. There's no way that we can ensure anything. There's no ensure that this plan will work or help or do anything for immigrants or even ourselves. Because we need to focus on everyone as a whole. With their plan, we are focusing solely on America. And we need to make sure that we can benefit other countries as well as benefit ourselves. The only way that we can benefit ourselves is by making sure other countries are strong enough to benefit themselves. Then we can have equal allies, and we could all be strong and support each other. And we don't have to hear about other countries' poverty and other countries' lack of resources that they need. And us taking these resources, we have no ensure that anything's going to end up okay. We would be increasing our population by 50% furthermore, creating too many people in our country. By having too many people in our country, if anything, we're only going to make our country worse. We are not going to be able to sustain our country, making us lower allies for everyone else. We need to make sure that we keep up ourselves as allies, keep up other countries as allies, and just ourselves as a whole. Because if we only work on ourselves, then we are, if anything, being selfish. We're being selfish against those who don't have what we have at our fingertips. Furthermore, there is a no tech shortage, as was further stated in the 1NC and the 2NC. The tech shortage isn't a problem that we have to worry on for the reason that we are already having so many people going into this force. We have people going into this force, and accepting other people from other countries is not only giving too many people that we wouldn't be able to give jobs to, but however, we're taking people who need who need people in that labor force in their country.
We are 6 minutes per time?
Yeah.
Only is 2 minutes? I did not realize that. We never said we had to take research. We assume pandemics because they did not get reasoning for why extinction is more likely to occur in a car crash. They give you 2 arguments saying that pandemics don't cause extinction. No, they said extinction is not going to happen. Then they say extinction will happen. No, and then they said we won't remain honest with everyone. We don't say that. We're saying we just want to isolate so we don't have more problems on our face. Then I responded how America needs to stay competitive. They can bring it up how we need to be nice to people, but they never brought up how we need to remain competitive. And then they said they contradict themselves saying there's a chip shortage, but they didn't have one MC. They said that the number of graduates outweighs the number of tech jobs available. Some pandemics because they didn't get reason this one doing this. $20 million for everyone. Do you have something to say about that one? The next responded to how the market is competitive and shows people. Personally, but they said tech grants outweighs. Ready?
How much more prep time do we have left?
2 minutes, 42 seconds.
We could just chill for 2 minutes.
Well, I think these will be for 5 minutes and we can chill for the next break. We got like 30 minutes. Come on, let's 10 minutes. Hurry up.
My throat's so crap.
My first word.
The neg is asking us to ignore those in need, that we should focus on ourselves. But by focusing on ourselves, we're deemed useless by our allies. We also seem weak as a country. If we no longer provide the resources we once did, they stated that we were taking other countries' resources. But other countries also don't have our knowledge. Our plan is a symbiotic relationship. We gain from each other and we share that information to stop wars and pandemics while keeping our competitiveness. Speaking of competitiveness, they never stated how we will keep our competitiveness while not doing the plan. Pandemics can happen at any time, anywhere, and are global. What will we in other countries do if we were too stubborn to accept those who could have prevented this? You should vote ACT because America is built on immigrants. It is who we are. It is who we are. Who are we to deny immigrants the chance to better themselves in their countries? She also spoke on how there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that a pandemic won't come on our door at any time. There is no guarantee that a nuclear war will happen at any time. There is no guarantee for anything, but what we're doing right now is putting something in place so that way, if you think there is a guarantee, that we can stop it and that we as a country will be better for it. She also spoke about they contradict themselves when they speak about the tech surge. We have stated very clearly in our evidence that by adding immigrants, they add businesses of doctors, tech, anything like that. We spoke very clearly about that in our first one you see. What are we to do? If they say that the number of tech workers outweigh the number of tech jobs, that's okay. If we add immigrants and they add their own businesses like tech jobs, then there will be people, both immigrants and Americans alike, to fill those positions. They also spoke about how would you feel if your mother if your child or your mother wasn't able to get the resources they need from a hospital because there was no one there to help them, if it was overcrowded. Immigrants can do that. Immigrants can share their knowledge, they can help us stop different things like the flu and different things like that. Anything that can happen at our doors, they can stop that. They add knowledge. They add to that knowledge and they also add with people. They said that we are taking. We are not taking anything from anyone. It is a choice. No one asked them to apply. And as you said before, they said that because of Trump, there was a shortage of how many people applied. Even if there was a shortage, there was still an abundance of people who still didn't get accepted. There's a shortage, okay? That means that now more people can get accepted, right? So what's the problem? There is no problem. There is no problem with that. Why not add more so these people can be accepted in? That's it.
Questions back and forth and using stuff like, I remember you saying something, like the one person that, when she read her evidence, like, what was really clear, like, said, number one, number two, number three, like, in my flow, it was very easy to follow along. So, like, if you're following along as well and tagging, it's easier to ask questions. Not all judges are debate coaches or debate in high school or debate college, like, and don't follow along as clearly so they can get easily confused. So you want to make sure like that you're being like very specific. And also if you don't flow or flow very well, you're gonna realize like if someone dropped a card or someone didn't answer your solvency or someone didn't read the plan, which didn't have to get but no matter what. So just like make sure that you're really flowing. Also make sure that you're having a little bit of eye contact and meeting the judge, because before I walk in this room, like, you guys don't know anything about me, right? So you don't know that I taught in Morocco for 2 years, I taught in Egypt for 3 years. I married an immigrant in another country and had an immigrant in our country. So some of the topics are a little more touchy. And you're on like a path and you have just a second, and you're on one of those paths and like you can see your judge's face, you might want to quickly switch that level. So just be really, really careful because you don't know what other people's like prejudices or biases or knowledge of the subject is. You also don't know that like immigrants coming here aren't allowed to go on food stamps. They aren't allowed to go on WIC. They aren't allowed to go on Section 8. They have to have at least $30,000 in the bank before they can immigrate here. So like there's some really stereotypes about like them using our resources, but in actuality, they're bringing more resources into our country. Economically speaking, like the more jobs that people have, the more they're putting forth into an economy. So if none of you have jobs, right? Like our economy is stagnant. You all four get jobs, all of a sudden, you're putting more money in, you're putting money in taxes, you're also getting paid, and you're buying stuff at other places, which is giving other areas more goods and services that they're able to hire more people. So it's a good ongoing thing. So you talk about like time frame, or talk about like what the government is paying. The government doesn't really have to pay. We're getting more tax dollars. You're having more liquid money in your economy. So think about that. Someone talked about like overpopulation. Drive through Wyoming, drive through South Dakota, drive through Montana, drive through Nebraska, drive an hour and a half from Chicago. There's nothing, like literally nothing. I spoke at a conference last weekend in Ohio. Oh my God, for like 4.5 hours, I didn't see anything, literally. You know, when it said next rest stop, 56 miles in between there, I think I counted 2 trailers or 1 farm. And maybe one of the farms was abandoned. So like, be really careful about your like overpopulation argument, because literally, you're just thinking about Chicago, you're not thinking about like the greater aspect of it. Our unemployment rate right now is like 0.76, which means like every person that needs a job or wants a job can have a job. So think about really hard about like unemployment, because we all really have jobs.
I have a question.
Hmm?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like the evidence you're giving now, are we allowed to like add that to our argument? So we can?
Yeah, I think that you guys are now, I think I might have left my sheet, but I think you guys can still add it. I think you're hitting your unlimited one. Or you get 1 now and then next term you're unlimited.
Yeah, I think next term is only around.
So I think you're 1 now and next term you're unlimited, so you can use 1 piece.
Okay.
You can use the 1%.
And then also, like most of these people, if you think about it, they're paying them, if they're not coaches, they're paying them $45 a day. Think about the dollar amount. So kind of stupid. So spell out, judges, this is exactly why we should win. Blah, 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 right? If you sound very convincing, who am I going to take? The person that talks for 5 minutes and sounds like you know, or the person that's like very firm about it?
Very fun.
Okay, so make sure you just say to your judge, like, hey, are you a coach? Or like, okay. I tell my kids the same thing, they don't listen. Also thinking about like isolating ourselves right now, Trump is totally isolating ourselves. It's not a good thing. Most of our clothes come from other countries. Most of our technology comes from other countries. We outsource all our stuff. So in isolating ourselves, like we are like holding inside of ourselves, like we're a communist Cold War thing, where literally China right now is doing 2 routes. They're loaning money going up this way through the east, and they're one going up through the east, and they're giving money to countries that are third world countries that can never pay back the money, but they're saying like, hey, you don't have to pay it back, just like rent us your port for 99 years. They're becoming more and more powerful. So us pulling ourselves in is actually doing more of a disservice. So isolationist is not a great argument.
And
it's very bad. And if you have any history teachers, they're going to know that. So be really, really careful. You know, it's really good. Take your knowledge. I gave you hints to like win rounds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also in your rebuttal, one thing. Your rebuttal is what he said, she said, right? I used to do this all the time with my mom. I have 4 brothers. But they said, blah, 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 blah. But my argument is better because like I did the dishes and I did the laundry and they didn't do shit, right? So do the same thing in your evidence. Like judge, our evidence said this, and their evidence said this, and this is why our evidence is better. Do it line by line and then do your shit. It shows the judge that you followed along, and then you can also say, and they dropped this card and they didn't pick up this argument.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, your little community is really cool.
Oh, thanks. So I'm such a dork. So I will fall asleep in a debate if I'm not doing something. And I can't be on my phone because then I'm not listening to you. I have no idea what you said. But when I knit, I can really listen.
I'm like, is it like a way to concentrate? Like,
It is,
like
it
people do
really
Pinterest?
is. So I told my debaters that if they went to 3 or more tournaments, they could get a headband or scarf,
Oh, wow.
right?
and she went Maverick. And she didn't give up.
Wait, what's
Where
the
is she from, Bogan?
Bogan.
Yeah, we met her. We helped her the entire
She was
yeah.
super sweet.
Was she
Yeah.
good?
Yes.
Yeah, she did really good for her
She
first.
was-
Okay, so she was very nervous and she went by herself. Her partner didn't show up, and I was like, okay, you get a scarf, and she's so happy. And she showed back up today, so I was very happy. So another.
She was so sweet. Like,
She said I was nervous scarf for sure.
Yeah.
we helped her the entire thing. We told her everything.
But after a while, she really caught on, and
Yeah.
like she like skipped out on some of the time, but at the end she's like, "But this," and she's like really confident. And I was like, "Okay, she has it now." I'm like, "David,
Because
let's not going
I was
easy."
so nervous because we have to judge rounds, so we don't get to see like our babies, and I was like, oh my god, how was she doing? Okay.
Yeah, the judge said she did really good for her tournament.
Because I watched a really bad round yesterday. Like I watched one that like the other side didn't do any questions. Their rebuttal was like 12 seconds long.